Hey everybody, Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique, and today I'm talking about weight loss scams.
My name is Steven, and this is our video about health and fitness things. And I work for Pro Physique, and I am just a guy with a fitness thing for you.
Hey everybody, wow, man, did that start off real heavy. But it is important that we understand and we know how marketing impacts how people are trying to get at our money, how they play at our maybe insecurities, our body image, and some of those other things to try and get into our pocketbooks. And what spurred this? Well, of course, it was spurred by an ad for supplements. Yes. So this is very difficult because a lot of us will see supplements or will, say, hey, they're, advertising for all this crazy stuff, and it feels good and it sounds good. Most of us are like, hey, if I can do something that will help me to not have to make as many crazy changes to my diet or my lifestyle, that will help me to see progress, that sounds like a good thing, right? Maybe not so much. Wrong. It always reminds me of the cartoon I used to watch. Ain't that cute, but it's wrong. And the reason why is because a lot of times the claims that they're making aren't necessarily supported by the science. And oftentimes what we will see, and this is very, very common, is that they will take something that maybe there is some science for, and they maybe take that science out of context or apply it to humans where it might not be applicable, right? So a good example would be, hey, we're going to use this ingredient in a supplement that was shown to found weight loss. Okay, but the clinical dose was X, and we're using 1/10 of X in our supplement. This is probably the big one, and this is where we see a lot of what we call proprietary blends. Proprietary blends normally mean that they have a blend of ingredients, and it is going to be listed within that proprietary blend in terms of most abundant to least abundant ingredient. This is hard to deal with because, well, most of us aren't out there going into the research and saying, well, what is the recommended dosage? What is the clinical dosage that they had to use to see a positive response within the research? And that is a hard question to answer because it requires us to look at a lot of research-based topics. Not only what was the research done in, right? Some research on fat loss supplements are done in simply a cell. A lot of supplement research is done in animals, rats, for example. So that may or may not be applicable to humans. And most research is not necessarily done in athletic or healthy populations either. So these are all considerations that we should have when we're looking at how supplements are being marketed to us. This is important because, yes, we need to know, right? It does matter. And these are details. So if your money doesn't matter to you and you're like, cool, I'm going to go for it, perfect. Have at it. Do your thing. But if you're like me, and I'm what I like to call wonderfully frugal, I want to make sure that if I'm going to spend money on something, it's worth it and it does what it says it's going to do. So what is probably the biggest determinant, or the one that I see the most of, is got to be the weight loss supplements. It's a weight loss supplement, it's a weight loss supplement, it's a weight loss supplement. Lose body fat fast, do this, do that. Oh man. The problem with most of these are, and just like raspberry ketones has been done in cells, but we haven't seen those results in humans, right? L-carnitine for fat loss. It sounds good, yes. Carnitine does transport fat in and out of the cell to utilize it for energy substrate, like to use fat as energy. But the supplementation doesn't work for fat loss. Not unless you're carnitine deficient, which most of us probably are not. So understanding these things helps us to kind of maybe see through some of the BS or some of the marketing garbage to help understand what is going to give us the best benefit, what is not going to maybe give us the best benefit. And it is also very, very, very important to remember that most fat burners contain caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant, the same as like maybe some of the other stimulants that we've talked about not using anymore, like ephedra and those kind of things, right? Anything that has caffeine in it can technically be considered a fat burner because caffeine does increase the metabolic rate and how much fat you burn. Yup, it does. Now that being said, you then need to look at if caffeine or green tea or that is all we're necessarily interested in. Is there a difference that is worthwhile between said supplement, fat burning supplement, and maybe a cup of coffee or an energy drink or something else that may also supply caffeine but maybe may not have some of the other ingredients in it that may or may not be providing us said benefit? Ooh, that one's tough. And I know this is like a big, like, Steven, seriously, bro? Yes, seriously, dude, because these supplements ain't cheap, yo. And that's kind of why I love Core Nutritionals, is they list everything by the ingredient and by the amount that they're putting into it. Not only are they doing that, but when you go onto the website, you can also look at what they're quoting for the research for how things work, what they do, and why you should expect a benefit. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, wow. So, yes, there are some things that work, but when we educate ourselves and we learn more, we learn that it might not be as much as we think it is, and there's definitely a lot of roundabout ways that companies can get around that to get into our pocketbooks. Tough, I know. I didn't like learning this stuff either. The other thing that you have to remember or know is that a lot of the claims made are not necessarily evaluated by the FDA. I said that word funny. So there's not necessarily a ton of oversight on the supplement industry in and of itself. Now, one of the other places that I like to go for my supplement research that is really looking at what does the research say, what has it been done in, has it been in humans and non-humans, all that kind of stuff, is examine.com. I'm gonna put that link below in the information on this video so you have access to it. So you always have that resource for yourself to say, hey, I'm not sure if this supplement is going to be good for me. I don't know how I feel about these ingredients. I can go look them up and see what the science says. And remember, science is always evolving and changing, but we can at least see what the current science says about said supplements we're interested in. And so it can be very, very helpful to maybe save us some cash or to make sure if we're gonna spend that money that it's going to something that's actually going to benefit us more as opposed to something that may not be giving us what we really want out of it. Because supplements absolutely can be a nice benefit for us, but we also wanna remember they're the top of that little pyramid, if they're our food pyramid. And a lot of times what we're looking for the supplements to do, this is another big thing, is where we need to be looking at our lifestyle habits and our habit change to be doing. We all know that diet and exercise make a big impact in terms of body composition, body weight, physical fitness, those kind of things. Oftentimes, we may be looking towards a supplement, a meal replacement shake, something else that's kind of like a Band-Aid over a wound. And it's not that those things are bad, and it's not that those things aren't good, right? They can be helpful. Yes, we know that. We've seen it in the research, and that's great. However, if we're trying to put a Band-Aid over something that needs stitches, we may be utilizing the wrong tool. Our money, our effort, our, mental fortitude would probably be better suited towards habit change, lifestyle change, working on those small changes week after week to get us to where we want to be, and then maybe adding the supplementation on top of that. Again, it's not that I'm saying that supplements are bad, but they're up here. They're the upper decker, right? Poop jokes. But what we oftentimes will do is we will skip the foundation of our nutrition, our health, our fitness, and just look at that supplementation. So if anybody is saying, hey, I did this with just this supplement, I call bullshit, especially if it's a very significant change. Most of those people, maybe, yes, they were using that supplement, but they were also probably dieting. They were also probably in a calorie deficit. They were also probably exercising. They were doing the things to facilitate change otherwise. it most likely wasn't just said supplement. And again, you can always check out things like examine.com or even PubMed to look at research on possible ingredients for supplements that you're interested in. So today's video was about a bit of bullshit. Oof. And I know it's always kind of like disappointing if you're excited about something, but we always want to bring back to reality. It's not that those things are bad, but we want to make sure that our foundation is strong and we're doing all the underlying things to create success. And then if we're going to utilize supplements, those are the icing on the cake.